I think it's beautiful. I think it's wonderful to be able to create all these different things and to make pieces of art. And I also like the subtlety of a very plain hat. And as it
Mm,
ages and gets worn in, it tells your true story, your own story. Just with the
absolutely.
marks when you touch it over and over again, or
Mm,
maybe it flies off your head while you're on the back of a motorbike, gets
mm.
run over by a car or a train, or wherever you
Yeah,
take it on your adventures. You might pick up a
yeah.
feather on the top of a mountain and pop it in the side, or something like that. How lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you, Jack. Well, lovely to meet you down in Australia.
Yes. And
Amazing.
you're in Austria right now, is that correct?
That's right, in Vienna.
Wow.
How amazing that we can connect this way now, isn't it?
It, it's incredible. Although I
Yeah,
do miss the face to face in person meetings sometimes.
absolutely. And your whole scene there, it's so perfect. It's absolutely like I see on your Instagram as well. There's these hats and this whole image that you have. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm,
You're
I'm in
act-
my little workshop here at the moment.
oh, really?
Yeah.
You're the first
Hiding in.
hat maker I've spoken to, and it's something that I thought about when I saw you when you appeared on my news feed. That it's really an art, and it's really something that I think because it must be a very unique art nowadays because we don't wear hats as much as we used to.
Yeah, I think that's changing. I hope that's changing. Trying
Mm.
to do my best to help to change that. But definitely it's found a renaissance in the last few years. When I started out, it seemed that there was only a handful of hat makers. And in the last few years, now there's hundreds.
Really?
So, yes, like you, I've started a podcast to try and bring that community together. And we have over 600 hat makers that are part of
Amazing.
that now. Yeah.
So is it? I mean, Australia is this, and I mean, I'm from South Africa, and I know in South Africa it's almost like if you're on a farm or if you're outside or if you have a life, or a work outside, that's more uh, people who tend to wear hats, but it's functional. But you have almost created this style. It's a style of wearing hats now. It's not just the functionality of it.
Yeah, I think like we like a hat to tell a story. And I think if you look back at some of the older hats that have been around or that have been worn for years, or maybe that were passed down from person to person, there's a lot of hats that stay in families. I think the character of a hat is something that we're trying to achieve. And yeah, I think that's kind of become in fashion somewhat in the last few years, maybe the last 10 years. And people want something with a little bit of character, maybe to enhance their own or just because they like the look.
Yeah. But what made you interested in hat making?
Well, before I started hat making, I didn't even know how hats were made.
Really?
Yeah, I found a picture of a person who was wearing a custom hat and it said handmade hat. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know how they were made. And so then I piqued my curiosity and then I had to find out everything about it. And then once I did, which wasn't too much information in the beginning, but as I found out more, I felt like, oh, this is something that I could do. This is something that I want to do. And so I started on the journey.
But did you do anything before? I mean, was this something that you did from a young age?
No, not at all. I've been making hats for about 6 years now.
Mm.
Before that, I lived a very wild life. I traveled around the
Really
world for about 10 years and had a bunch of different jobs. And then hat making and I found each other.
amazing. Well, your label is called Creatures of the Wild Unknown. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Tell me about this name.
So the name, I guess What is the unknown? I think everything that you want lies beyond the unknown. And often the unknown is quite scary. It's a bit of fear. So if we can learn to step beyond the fear, then I think we can have whatever we want. And that's something that I'd like to put through in my hats.
And are you a bit of a creature of the wild?
I think so. I'm trying to soften those edges somewhat. Yeah.
But so where exactly in Australia are you based?
I am based on the east coast of Australia in a little town called Southwest Rocks. And it's right on the coast. It's a pretty little town, halfway between Brisbane and Sydney. So just far away enough from everybody, but also accessible enough if needed.
So did you grow up there in that area?
I grew up about 2 hours south, and I left Australia for about 10 years. And when I got back, I spent a lot of time up in the Whitsunday Islands, where I met my partner. And then we were there until, well, she had an organic cafe and I had a little sailing boat. And then 2017, there was a cyclone, which kind of decimated the town. And we decided it was time to move. So we went down to Byron Bay. And then that's where we started our businesses. I started hats and she started jewelry making. And then after a little while, seemed a little bit too busy for us. So we tried to find the next pretty quiet place.
Oh, okay.
And so here we are.
But you have to now explain to me. It's always interesting to know. So you found this or you were inspired by making hats, but there must be a process, and you know, like everything, it takes time. It's not this instant thing. Sometimes we hear the story, oh, so you know, you're interested in hat making and then now you've got a hat business. But where did this start? How it began? It started at the beginning. How did the first hat exist then?
How did the first hat come about? Well, it kind of did happen overnight, although it seemed to take quite a while. So once I had the idea that that's what I wanted to find out about, it took me about 3 or 4 months of searching vigorously, trying to find information. And back then there was very little information. So I came across an old cowboy hat making book. And I was diving through this book, trying to figure out what these things were. What's a felt? What's a hat body? What's a hat block? What are these tools? How do they make them? And I had to do a lot of research to try and find suppliers. Back then, there wasn't as many as there are now. I found a phone number for a company in the States, and I had to wait till about 12 o'clock at night here so I could call them in first thing their morning.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was lucky that they sent me a whole box of samples, and so I could get started. And I found a hat block, and I made some of my own tools, and then the process began.
Amazing. And because we must also take into consideration Australia. Like you say, if you want something from America or the rest of the world, you have to wait probably also for the deliveries and that sort of thing. So does that make it a bit more complicated?
That's right. Yeah, it does get a little complicated. And also the Australian dollar fluctuates wildly compared to the American dollar. So sometimes it's closer to being even, and then sometimes it's quite drastically apart, which kind of in the beginning made it difficult to price my hats. But now I found a little comfortable spot where everything works out okay. But yeah, like everything, especially over COVID, supply chains kind of started to get a little tighter. Waits became longer for all these things, but it's starting to find a balance again.
So after all this, because you said you found a book about cowboy hats, but now have you found now your style? So you've developed something that you would say, this is my style. This is my style of hat making.
That's a good question. I feel like I'm in a little bit of a transitional period at the moment. I feel the last 5 years of my hat making has kind of been my apprenticeship. And it's something that I've had to teach myself. I've had a little bit of knowledge from this book, but a lot of the things that you need to know aren't in there. So it's a lot of trial and error. And over that time, I've started to refine my techniques and refine, I guess, the reasons why I'm making a hat or what I see in a hat that is important. And before, I felt like it was a lot to do with the look or the feel of a hat, kind of the character that's in a hat. And as I dive deeper into my craft, it's really about the quality of a hat. And so my style, I guess, which I've put out into the world, is a combination of mine plus my customers. I do a lot of custom orders. And so I have a lot of customers who put their input into things. And as you post more of those things on social media, more people want those types of things. So it's kind of created a style that may not be 100% my own. And I want to get back more to basics and to get to really create classic style hats with bold lines, classic styles that are more timeless rather than maybe more fashionable.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you work with customers, so they come, can you read your customers already to see what type of hat they would want? How much is there in your input and their input? Because you're the one knowing, you're the one with the knowledge.
Yeah, I think most people come with a basic idea of what they want. And I think a lot of people have seen the work that I've done in the past, so they have an idea that it's going to be something like that. And then they might add personal pieces or personal touches. They might like a brim that's a little wider, a crown a little taller, maybe a certain kind of leather or a certain kind of band around the hat. And then there's other little things that you can add, like people might have a personal piece that they want to, like a brooch or maybe a tie from their father, a leather belt from their grandfather that they've had as an heirloom, and they want that on their hat. Yeah. So you can personalize a hat in many different ways.
You make me want a hat now. I like those sentimental things.
Well, you have a beautiful face for a hat.
Oh, thank you so much. I should get one. But I know you're in Austria also traditionally, you know, their traditional wear, the lederhosen, and the men also wear these felt hats. And I believe, I don't know the whole tradition of it, but there's also these sentimental things that they put in, or meaningful things, you know, the feathers or the emblems or something. So yeah, that's how amazing that we still have that urge to have something like that sentimental part.
Yes, I think that never goes away. And I think often if you have a good quality hat, say, for instance, one that's made of a rabbit or a beaver felt, these are going to last a lot longer than, say, a wool felt hat, which may last a couple of years. These rabbit and beaver felt hats will last 10, 20, 30, 50, maybe 100 years.
Really?
And so a lot of people will pass them on to their children or to their grandchildren, and then they get to carry that sentiment around on their head as well.
Yeah, amazing. But now tell me about the materials that you use. You were talking about materials, but what exactly do you use for the hats?
Yeah, so I use a rabbit felt and a beaver felt. And beaver felt is considered the most luxurious felt because of its qualities. It's very soft, very smooth, very hard wearing, very water resistant. And they're considered like an heirloom hat. So they're the ones that are going to last 50, 100 years, maybe longer.
Wow.
Yeah. And rabbit felts are close, but not quite as good, but definitely much more hard wearing than, say, a wool felt hat.
Okay. Do you make the felt yourself?
I don't make the felts myself, no. So a lot of the felts are made in Eastern Europe.
Okay.
Yeah, and at the moment, there's a little bit of a felt shortage within the hat making industry. A lot of the felt suppliers are upgrading their equipment because they're using the same machines that they used 60 to 100 years ago. And so it's time for a little bit of an upgrade so that they can keep producing.
Oh, okay. But now how do you so you make the hats and everything, but there's also this part of selling the hats and marketing the hats. So in obviously from Australia, do you do shipping? Do you do outside Australia? Do you send outside Australia as well?
Yes, absolutely. So in the beginning, I think most of my orders were from outside of Australia.
Really?
Yeah, mostly going to the United States. Have a very big hat culture there, and it's not uncommon for them to spend large amounts of money on a hat.
Really? Mm.
Whereas in Australia, we really only have a company called Akubra, which is our national hat company, and they pretty much supply the highest quality of hat in Australia. And then you have a hardware store known as Bunnings, and they create like a palm leaf hat, which is like $5.
Oh, okay.
So they're kind of like the two main hats that are worn in Australia. So as myself and a few other hat makers in Australia start to bring a higher quality hat, the Australian market started to get a little bit bigger. So I would say now I have 60% of my customers are from overseas and about 40% within Australia.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
But now, tell me. So you say your partner, she makes jewelry. Is there a way
Yeah.
that you combine these things? That you work
Yes,
together?
actually. Yeah. So
Yeah.
now you mentioned it. Here's one we prepared earlier.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you
Amazing.
can see there. Oh, it's a little bit
Can
dark
bring
here. Let
back.
me see if I
Yeah.
can get some light on it.
Yeah.
There's a turquoise pendant on this one.
I
So she
saw
can
that.
make
Yeah.
some hat jewels and pendants for hats.
Amazing.
Yeah, which go really nice.
I think that one will go nice with me, with my fair skin.
Yeah, maybe a lighter
The
colored hat
turquoise.
with a little bit of turquoise.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, that's my style, that one. But that's amazing. And that makes it also then a very much unique. So somebody can come and ask for that type of jewelry on the hat.
absolutely. And I have another friend who does pyrographic artwork. So he burns his artwork into the bottom of my hats, which this last hat I just showed you, I just got back from him today, and he's actually done a piece on the
Oh,
bottom.
oh
So
wow.
this one has everything. It's got the turquoise, and it's got
Mhm.
this I guess it's like a yin yang type thing with a humpback whale and a whale shark.
Amazing. Well,
Yeah,
but this is then these hats tell stories. Then I mean, these hats have. It's not just a hat. It's all this extra things with it, and it's storytelling.
absolutely. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I guess you can choose to put whatever you want on your hat to tell your story and
Yeah,
to tell your journey. I think it's beautiful. I think it's wonderful to be able to create all these different things and to make pieces of art. And I also like the subtlety of a very plain hat. And as it
mm,
ages and gets worn in, it tells your true story, your own story. Just with the
absolutely.
marks when you touch it over and over again, or
Mm,
maybe it flies off your head while you're on the back of a motorbike, gets run
mm.
over by a car or a train, or wherever you
Yeah,
take it on your adventures. You might pick up a
yeah.
feather on the top of a mountain and pop it in the side, or something like that.
That's true. That's true. And it's that's something that you talk about, when you take the hat, when you pass the hat on, you pass those stories on. It's like a book
Yeah,
almost. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, lots of hidden adventures in a hat.
exactly. And some you don't talk about.
No, but the hat's seen it all. Yeah,
Some should not be talked about.
yeah.
But Jack, this is amazing. I'm so happy that you agreed to talk to me, because I just absolutely I love your page as well, how you market it, and it's exactly what you're talking about now. You show on your page as well. But tell me, what are the wishes for you? Where do you
Um,
see your business going?
where do I see it going? That's a good question. So yeah, again, like I feel like I'm in a transitional phase. I feel like the last few years, I've learned a lot about hat making, and I've been able to connect with a lot of people and make a lot of different things. And yeah, and so now I really want to bring it back to basics, come back to the fundamentals, and just create perfect, hard wearing, but beautiful hats, and then help people tell their own story, and have a hat that I think that will last a lifetime. Really, is what I want to do. And to be able to tell your story with it, you take a hat, and then in time it grows with you, it changes with you. But I'm not sure. So yeah, I think there's a lot more to do. I'm also doing a podcast, so I'm really trying to bring this hat making community together as well.
Amazing, and great that you do that, because I think it's like my impression was that, you know, people don't wear hats anymore, and if you say that more and more people are aware of it, and more people are interested in it, it's wonderful, because I think it's an art that needs to be encouraged as well.
Yeah, I think in this day and age, I think all handcrafts and all arts need to be encouraged. I think AI has its place and computers have their place, but I think humans definitely need to take up more of that space. And I think taking tradition into the future is a very important thing for the human race.
Absolutely. And I think we have to start with children.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
and I've just recently seen also amazing project that's been done in South Africa with children, just art centers, teaching them different things, different skills and different things, and giving these children hope. And I think something like this, you know, it's skills. And if somebody makes something, I think you're always so proud if you can make something yourself. It gives you also that pride. And this is also something that no technology can give you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that we're all creators, and I think that we forget that in many ways as we become consumers. And I think when you make something with your hands, it changes everything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think it really helps you to discover that you have power in this world and just within your own world, and that you can take the intangible and make it real. And I think if you can build up on that, then you can do amazing things.
Mm-hmm. And you know, something as simple, I say simple, not that I think but I mean something like a hat, for example. When we talked now about how much that can tell, and how much that can hold, you think it's something that people should be more aware of. You know, that these things are the things that you pass on to the future, or pass on, or that you tell stories with, and these are the things that really matter.
Yes, I agree. And I think when you make something with your hands, or people see something that's made with someone else's hands, there can be more of an appreciation for it.
Oh, yes.
And I think appreciation for handmade things and good quality things and things that are going to last a lifetime, rather than just machine made, bought things that you can throw away. It's a big shift in the mind. And if you start to create quality and have quality around you, the quality of your life increases as well. And that's not just on the physical or the material, but that's in relationships and everything around you.
Absolutely, yeah. It's this chain reaction that it creates.
Yeah. I was looking at your photos today
Oh,
too.
really?
Yeah, they're really beautiful. And I love the way that you capture people. I see that you got a real strong fascination in people.
Thank you.
And
Yes, I do. I actually do. And I like things to be as natural as possible. So I don't do much editing. I think people are beautiful the way they are.
yeah, I was wondering, I saw that you do portraiture and also street photography.
Oh,
And I
yes.
was wondering if you had a favorite or a preference between the two.
Oh, street photography. Absolutely. It's my heart's project, because I think It's because I try to capture love as I
Mm-hmm.
see it. So couples walking hand in hand, or that fascinates me. For people togetherness, and you cannot. It's nothing there is staged, and I've got thousands of pictures of couples holding hands, for example, or sitting on a bench, or where I took the picture without them knowing, and um, I or sometimes think I've seen everything, and I haven't. It's amazing how people just have different ways of expressing love when they're together, and you think you see it all, but you don't. But just the way they hold hands, just the way they interact with each other. It's I haven't come across the same, that I've start thinking, okay, no, I've seen it all. So this is why I love it. And I love it because it's not staged, and it's not, it's just that moment, and you can never recreate it, and you can never be there on that spot at that time, finding those people. And yeah, so I love that. I actually think I captured a first kiss.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
Yeah, I saw this couple with a skateboard. The guy had a skateboard in his hand, and he was walking with the girl. They were holding hands, and I thought, okay, let me just see what they do. And so they went to sit on the skateboard, and I thought, wow, this is amazing, because it was such a great setup.
Mm-hmm.
And I just stood behind them, on a distance, and just watched them. And I was actually trying to take the picture, but they were moving a lot. And I was thinking, oh, just be still, that I can get the picture. And the next minute he kissed her. And when I got home and I downloaded the pictures and I went through the sequel, I mean, there was about 15 or 16 pictures that was in the sequel. I
Mm-hmm.
realized it could have been a first kiss, because the way that she leaned in and he leaned in, it was this playfulness, that she was showing that she wants to be kissed, and he was just, waiting to, and then there was this kiss, and I felt so touched by this whole sequel of pictures that I could take to get to that one, so.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, this is why I feel so passionate about it, because that would never happen again, and that I would never see that scene again. So yeah,
Watching the magic of life unfold
exactly. And what
and
is there?
capturing it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in the end, and even old people. If you see older people walking hand in hand, you just think, that's what it's all about in life, isn't it? It's that togetherness, that somebody that you have, and the way they walk, and the way you see sometimes they help each other. Then you think, yeah, that's what it's all about.
So you have a lot of love and a lot of hope for humanity.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely. I live in the cloud, not the iCloud. I live in the real
Yeah.
cloud.
Yeah.
But tell me, Jack, I just thought of something. I've I've spoken to a sculptor, and I've
Mm-hmm.
asked him if he looks at people differently, because he's sculpting, so he looks at noses and eyes and ears, and he said, yeah, he actually does. He goes into meetings, and then he catches himself looking at somebody's ear. Now I want to ask you, do you do the same with people? If you see people, can you see a hat on people?
Yeah, that's a good question. I see hats. I think everyone's special and everyone's
Mm.
unique, but there's definitely certain characters out there that look like a certain hat would just fit quite right on
Really?
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those ones, yeah, I have a strong fascination with.
Oh.
Absolutely, and yeah, I think you can capturing the story of a person's face and
Mhm.
or someone who looks like they've seen a lot of life and have felt a lot of life, and you can see it weathered into their their facial expressions and into their demeanor. And I enjoy looking at that and then trying to figure out what kind of hat would
Really?
suit. Mm,
Oh,
yeah.
that's very interesting. And I imagine that you um that's where the hat design comes in when you have that freedom. When somebody comes to you and you
Hmm.
say, okay, create a hat for me, then you use all these feelings and elements that you can create a hat with.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think also it's like a hat can create a new persona for somebody. I think there's something special about a hat. And so sometimes like it's not just the person that you're creating for, but it's the person that they want to express that you're creating for.
Mhm.
And so trying to create a hat that's going to help them maybe embody those qualities a little bit more is part of the game as well.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's like putting on high heels.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what that's like, but I imagine
I can tell you.
it can change your attitude. Mm.
But yeah, that's very interesting. No, you've made me very interested in going to looking at hats and
When you come to Australia, you have to come by.
I
And
will
yeah,
definitely. I've never been to Australia, but it's close enough to South Africa. In I A lot of South Africans immigrate to Australia, so
they
people
sure
say it's
do.
the same type of life there. So I'll definitely come. But you also, when you come to Vienna, let me know.
Yeah, genau.
Yeah,
Yeah,
come and open a lovely shop here.
that would be lovely. There's actually a beautiful hat maker, I think, in Vienna.
Oh, really?
Um, there's a couple there. I think she's of an English background and he is of an Israeli background, but they have a little atelier somewhere
Oh,
in Vienna. Yeah,
I'll have to look that up.
I'll send you the
Mhm.
link. Yeah,
Yes,
I think
please, please.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're a lovely couple and
Okay.
make beautiful hats.
Okay. Now, please send me the link. I would love that.
Yeah.
But Jack, it was great talking to you.
It was a pleasure to be invited and lovely to speak to you, Petra.
Yeah.
Thank you for
And
having me.
hope to meet in person one day.
Absolutely, that would be lovely.
Yeah. Okay. Have a lovely where are we now? Evening.
Thank you very much. Enjoy
Yeah.
your
Okay.
day.
Thank you. Bye.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.